Satan, a defeated enemy. If you just happen to jump into this video, we are continuing a study on the book of Revelation, and you may want to check some of the previous videos first.
And somehow, that quickly we got to the middle of the book of Revelation. Until now, it was all about the spiritual struggle of the faithful ones, those who follow Christ. From now on, in the second half of the book, we're going to focus more our attention on the events that take place just before the second coming of Christ. We're now in chapter 12, and the text there is full of meaning that gives us an idea of the big picture of things happening here on earth, but as well as on a universe level. There is a pregnant woman with a child, there is a dragon. What's happening there?
According to the lesson, the purpose of chapter 12 is to give us the big picture behind the final crisis of world history. It says it shows us the development throughout history of the great controversy between Christ and Satan. Throughout our commentaries, we have many times pointed to the importance on understanding the big picture, the context of our lives, and what are we really involved in.
We learn from chapter 12, first and foremost, that there is a cosmic conflict. There is a cosmic battle between God and an enemy of his, one of his creations. And we also learn that this battle has its representation here on earth through the character of a woman and a dragon. In short, put very simply, they are respectively God's people against Satan's entourage. Without this basis of knowledge of things, it's difficult to relate to any injustice in this world. And also what the Bible discloses here in chapter 12 justifies the unrevealed events that are happening in this life behind the scenes in this battle between those two celestial beings. Can we understand it? No. Can we comprehend in depth the realm of this spiritual battle? Again, the answer is no. However, having just a glimpse of light of all of it helps us as much as that we can move on with our lives regardless of circumstances.
When we ruptured the connection with God, things got really bad. It didn't take long for the knowledge about God to be almost erased. Through Abraham and his descendants, God entered into a covenant, a new relationship agreement through which the love and care of God will be manifested into our world, through which Messiah would come and salvation will be assured. The woman, clothed with the sun and with the moon under her feet, represents God's people through the ages. With the moon, the lesser light representing the Old Testament promises pointing to the greater light, the sun, which represents the glory of Christ's character. And we also have this dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 diadems, with a huge tail that took 1/3 of the stars down, who wants to devour the child that the woman is about to give birth to. A very clear representation of Satan and his rage against God's people.
What did really happen in heaven? It's far, far away and long time ago for us to be even able to describe it. But with what John and Isaiah saw in a vision, we can conclude that there is an angel who rebelled against God's rulership. And this is the dragon. He desired and still desires to be a ruler. God's reaction was to expel him here on earth because he succeeded in deceiving Adam and Eve. Is this permanent? No, it's not. God has a plan. There is a child and there is a promise. The dragon's masked identity is exposed publicly, and his strategy, the purpose justifies the means, is crumbled down with him killing the Son of God. The heavens are in shock of kind of a state. However, they are disgusted by his true nature, and his fate is decided from then on. Is this drama very graphic, considering the cross and what happened there? I believe it is. However, it gives us a future date as a promise that all this influence and this bondage will end.
Satan was able to maintain his case until the sacrifice of Jesus. His mask fell then, and the whole ugliness of his insinuations was uncovered. From here, he fights a war that he has already lost. He's desperate. He's furious, enraged. He has nothing to lose.
Regardless, the dragon continued his war on earth even after Christ was victorious, even though after he was taken in heaven as a sign of his victory. His way of fighting was through persecution, struggle, and death for those who follow Christ. And Revelation reveals a prophetic period of 1260 days that describe and represent this ugly drama. It's believed to be between 538 and 1798 AD. As we categorized in a previous lesson, this is the era of the persecution and the era of the Dark Ages.
Satan can't survive in the presence of God. And anyone through whom God is present in our world is his fierce enemy. Those people who remain faithful to God, dedicated to Him, in a relationship with Him, they are this rest or remnant of the offspring of the woman. The text says that they keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus. Or, in other words, Satan is after those who preserve the character of God, represented by His commandments, and who remain in a relationship with Him, who proclaim the testimony of Jesus, the truth that Jesus testified for through His prophets. The sides are clearly set.
It's interesting how the lesson ends. It talks about the end-time strategy that Satan has, which is completely new and it's counterintuitive to us people. His way of battling will be more like through deceiving than through persecution from now on. How do we know that? Verse 9 describes him as one who deceived the whole world. And not only here, but we follow up on this image of Satan as being the deceiver from here in chapter 12 on through even to the end of chapter 20. So should we worry about Christians being persecuted in the last days before Jesus comes? Yes. However, Satan's new weapon as a counterpunch to those who are in the truth are false teachings and false beliefs, much more damaging than the well-known and well-resisted weapon of persecution. So, for us, we should watch out for any false teaching or philosophy that can swipe our mind or the minds of honest followers of Christ.
The world that we live in today is very different. We witness a war for our minds. Who can prevail to create the truth that he wants us to believe in? We don't trust media, we don't trust news, we don't know who to trust. They all want to manipulate us. And Satan, he is a pro in this game. He is defeated, but he is still unleashed, and he has allies. Join us next week when the study will continue with Satan and his allies.